I was thinking about this topic and I was like, I'm going to bring this one up because there's actually a rather straightforward thing. So this is thinking through a legacy for NMMU 2012 to Sapienza potential future. Today is Tuesday, 23 September 2025, and here I, Tanis of Seattle, reflect on attending Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in Port Elizabeth, South Africa, 6-month student visa, January 2012 to June 2012. Inclusive. It's a student visa, but just, okay, anyway. And think about how my experience may be relevant for a potential future for me as a student at Sapienza Università di Roma in Rome, Italy. So I was thinking about this and I was like, what would be the legacy? And I was like, when I think about studying in another place, in another country, another continent, because I've already done that, the first thing that kind of like pops into my mind, it's like, do I, like for the actual like travel part is, do I need vaccines? What kind of immunizations do I need? And because when I went to Africa, there was malaria, there was tuberculosis, there was Africa has real conditions, and so real immunizations were needed. So this is one that I'm like, do I need stuff like that to go to Italy? I genuinely don't know. So there's a little bit of the legacy that immediately comes to mind is how vivid of lived experience on the immunization front it was living in Africa, and that is like it's right up there when I think of potentially being a student in Italy. As for, so that's kind of it. In terms of like thinking through a legacy, I'm like, well, that's a how kind of legacy of like, how do I get it done, and how do immunizations factor in, if at all, that kind of and how that kind of stuff. I think I say potential future here because when I was thinking about pursuing a PhD in physics in Italy, it was Giorgio Parisi, and I was thinking about that back in the 2010s decade, and I was like, it'd be Giorgio Parisi. However, that does take a little bit of a ding if he wins a Nobel Prize or something like that, because the biggest change, reputation change of the Nobel laureates is they become a bit more distracted and they don't make as much progress. And I'm like, but I'd be a student. I'm like, yeah, but I also don't want to spend my, I'm not committing to spending my life being like, so-and-so is a Nobel laureate. I'm like, well, then maybe I shouldn't go with yes in the first place. Right. So I was like, it'd be fun. However, I should reevaluate if he does win a Nobel Prize or a big deal prize. And if he does, then it might be a no. All right. Last decade when I was thinking about it, when I was a graduate student, in geophysics in California, I ended up quitting with no degree, and I was like, especially, and it was a situational one where I was like, if I'm still in like academia, or I've attained at least one like my graduate degree, that kind of thing, and he wins a prize, then reevaluate. If I'm not in like if I've quit with no degree and something like really big has happened, well, the default there, if he won a Nobel Prize, would be no, and he would be the only person in Italy I would say yes to. So it's kind of a no on Italy if it's not Giorgio Parisi, and if I stuck with my defaults, the answer would be a no, even from him, because he has won a Nobel Prize in physics. So it's a way of saying me moving in with my soulmates is an open future for me. The world has done a good job of disqualifying itself from my dreams. And I think specifically when I was really young, I only wanted to travel to kind of like two of the places where my ancestors are from, Italy and Scotland. And I've made it to Scotland, and I haven't, or not Italy and Scotland, I apologize, Ireland and Scotland. And I have made it to Scotland and I haven't made it to Ireland. So even if I were to say yes to Italy, it would still be a no if they were like, you have to come immediately. I'd be like, you don't know me at all, if that is true, especially if I'm Tanis Gillespie. I would hope you would support my childhood dream that preceded any dream in physics. The heart needs stuff to survive, and me going to Ireland is top 2, and my heritage travel trips reflect that accurately. And there's been medical blocks there. I mean, I didn't go when I wanted to go because of international travel restrictions. So there it comes in again. Is well, do they want to see me be successful? And then there's also if they really do in Italy and Sapienza, well then if I was born in Norway, it's also appropriate me to go for me to go to the country I was born before I go to Italy. So I would hope that any offer would be reflective of that. Also, Giorgio Parisi, Sapienza, Italy was not the only place I was looking. So if we wanted, I was looking at outside the United States of America because I am Euro Native American, and I got my degree from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, which at least had very strong commitment to the Native Hawaiians and was reflected in like even the terminology. Hawaii and Manoa are not English. And so I was, while not Native American, it does cover like original peoples of what is currently the 50 states of the United States of America. So it was like the other part, the United States of America. So we're talking dream level for me to achieve it would have to be Europe, the other part of my ancestry and ancestral origins. Anything else would be unreasonable and not heartfelt and not true to me. And so there were a number of institutions in a number of countries. So it'd be curious if I were to only receive one offer and they were like, and we want to see you be successful, and where are the other offers? Right? So if that's true. So that's thinking through a legacy for NMMU 2012 to Sapienza potential future, and that was actually true for NMMU Port Elizabeth, South Africa, as well. As there was more than one option and I chose South Africa. So right, if somebody really wants to know if I picked them, they'd be open to competition. So there we go.